Welcome back, everyone, to Fifth Road Spirit. I am here with your weekly reading, and I'm actually going to do a little bit of just a little bit for your new moon in Scorpio. I've had some technical difficulties with my equipment and was unable to do a new moon in Scorpio video. So the new moon in Scorpio started over the weekend. I believe it was either Saturday evening or Sunday morning, and it also depends on where you are in the world. So yes, we have a new moon, and of course, the new moon is where we transition in the feminine, the feminine cycle of the moon from the mother to the crone. This is the time when we take in our and wisdom, things that we've learned over the previous moon cycle, so that we can bring that into the darkness of the crone energy and physically bring that into the darkness of the womb in order to give new life once this dark moon goes to a full moon. And then I believe we have a full moon in Gemini, and I also think that might be a lunar eclipse. So yeah, I look forward to definitely hopefully having my equipment corrected before then, so that I can bring you a full moon in Gemini reading. So let's go ahead. I have my Moonology cards up here for you. Not only do I have a new moon card, there's a new moon in Scorpio card. So with the new moon, it says a new start is coming, of course. And for the new moon in Scorpio specifically, we are working through our fears. All right. So let me get these situated again. Well, you know what? I'll just set them here so that you can see them. Yeah, okay. Let's get that in a better angle. Okay, so let's read new moon. Okay, a new start is coming. There is a yes coming your way. This is one of the most auspicious cards in the deck. It is totally positive and suggests something new and exciting is developing. The situation you're asking about is blessed. You are on target to achieve your goals. The message from the universe is that you're starting all over again in some way, be that on a new or better course or just feeling more positive about achieving your desired outcome. If you've been feeling stagnant, this card reminds you that life goes in cycles and you're moving into a new cycle now. This is the time to wipe the slate clean. If the situation you asked about has become toxic, either that will clear up now or something totally new and fresh is on its way. So to attune to this new moon, say, I'll see it when I believe it. Notice what I said. I didn't say I'll believe it when I see it. I said I'll see it when I believe it. So belief here is going to help you attune to the moon. Okay, now let's look at the new moon in Scorpio. Again, I'm going to bring up my helper cards. The major arcana cards for Scorpio, the major arcana card for Scorpio is the death card. And of course, the moon card is represented, by the sign of Pisces, but also the high priestess is represented, is led by the moon card. So I've brought these three cards out, and here for me, the death, the moon, and the high priestess card are really about deep transformation of the feminine. And it's almost this idea of the feminine coming into, it's not so much that the feminine is coming into power, but everyone else is kind of being brought into the power of the feminine. It's backwards, you know what I mean? Especially, it's this thing of we're being drawn into this depth of the feminine and the world of the feminine versus, oh, there's a feminine takeover. Because if we really think about how, and when I talk about the feminine, again, I have to remind people that I'm talking about energy. But say we're talking about, masculine energy being in charge, that would be what we're currently doing, which is the patriarchy. So now we're looking at, if we are being brought into the fold of the feminine energy, what is it? How is it going to look different? So with the masculine, there's order, there's hierarchy, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but with the feminine, there is no such thing as hierarchy in the feminine energy. So we would reimagine it as, if we were looking at it from purely from our standpoint of the ordered patriarchy, right? The feminine would look like chaos to someone who is purely stuck in that masculine energy. So, and if we think about the creation process, think about an egg in the womb, it is pure chaos, right? I mean, you've got a sperm smashing into an egg, and an egg, doubling and tripling size, but still all one, still one egg, still one formulation, never separated, always connecting and growing, always connecting and growing. So if we think about heading into that energy of how we are always connecting and growing through chaos, in a chaotic situation, we are looking at this transformation in death, right? Transformation in that scorpionic energy. This is an alchemy. This is the combination of two seemingly different energies. And because we're in this moon energy, we are in a confused state. We're in the shadow state. We are really, really looking deeply at the parts of us that we have rejected. And of course, with that high priestess energy, this is where we meet the feminine aspect of God, right? This is where we look into the entrance of, we're basically looking at the knowledge that is gained by talking to that gatekeeper, the person that is guarding the gates of the feminine knowledge, the feminine and the divine feminine knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the new moon in Scorpio card, and then I'm going to do the weekly reading, weekly/new moon in Scorpio reading. Okay, new moon, Scorpio. Where are you? Okay, here we go. So, new moon in Scorpio, work through your fears. This card suggests a rebirth. Wow, didn't I just say that? Think of your situation as the phoenix that's rising from the ashes, as the birth, death, rebirth paradigm. That's what Scorpio energy is all about. Whatever you've been through, there's a new start ahead. It might be a little dark. It almost certainly won't be rainbows and unicorns, but it will be deep and transforming. This card also suggests that if you know you are magical, then this is the time to work your magic. It can also herald the start of a sexier time if you've been experiencing something of a drought. And emotional intimacy is also on the menu. Scorpio is the sign that likes to go deep into body, mind, and spirit. So when this card comes up, there's nothing superficial about what's coming your way. So additional meanings for this card: it's time to let go of a grudge that you're holding. It's time to move on from jealousy. It's time to stop being obsessive and ask yourself if you could be being paranoid about something, or it's time for you to make an investment. The teaching with this card: Scorpio is the sign of death and rebirth, magic and shamans. Its energy is a little bit dark, occult, even scary, Not all of us like to face the shadow, but Scorpio demands it. In fact, it's working through your dark side that you can get into the light, and the new moon in Scorpio and the appearance of this card at any other time suggests you need to do that now. Yeah, we definitely need to work with our shadows. And honestly, that's something that I've been working with all this weekend. So, yeah, totally agree with that. All right, so let's go ahead and get into your reading for the week and for the new moon in Scorpio. I've lit my new moon protection candle. I also have the Scorpio candle lit for the season of Scorpio. So we're still in the season of Scorpio. So it's almost like we've got Scorpio sun and Scorpio moon. So we're really being pushed into this energy of Scorpio, and really feeling that. If you have Scorpio in your chart, you might also be feeling it on some level related to whatever house that Scorpio is in for you. Whatever house or sign that Scorpio is in for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I call on my divine masters and teachers. I call on my enlightened ascended ancestors. I call on the elements of air, fire, water, and earth. And I also call on the fifth element, the nature that combines them all and connects them all, unites them all, to come into this reading with some guidance for the collective, for the new moon in Scorpio, and for the week of November 16th, 2020. Thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you for coming to this reading. Thank you for all your guidance thus far. Okay. All right. Can we get some guidance for the new moon in Scorpio and for the week of November 16th, 2020? Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. All right. Doesn't look like they have a message. Oh, here we go. All right. Let's see here. Oh, wow. I didn't see that one come out either. Okay. All right. Let's see. You know what? No, I'm going to take this as it is. Okay. So I was kind of questioning on how to position this when it came out, because even though it fell out kind of like this, the order that it came out was different, but it feels right leaving it how it fell. So I'm going to look at it that way. I'm going to rearrange the cards in the way that it actually fell out onto the table. And I did not realize that the Hierophant was hidden behind this Three of Wands, but let's see what dropped out. We've got the Four of Swords. We've got the Three of Wands. And we have the Hierophant card. At the bottom of the deck is the Page of Swords. So I think right away I see where, this, every time I see the Four of Swords, I think of rest. I think of messages that we get when we are dreaming. I think of spiritual rest. But here, I really do think this is messages that we get when we're dreaming. Now, quite funnily enough, the depiction of the man lying on his back, of course, this would be a sarcophagus, but we've also got the three swords hanging above. And when I look at, of course, the swords are about our emotion. Well, no, the swords are about messages, communications. This is air energy. This is air signs. This man lying in this state reminds me of the state that you have to be in when you're doing a shamanic journey. And it's almost as if you are becoming the message, merging with another world, merging with that other side in order to gain these messages. Now, because we are in this deep time of Scorpio, this energy of the new moon in Scorpio, and we're still in Scorpio season, this is what I see. This is, we're absolutely looking at death. We're looking at the statements that come when we are in a state of sleep, which is its own form of being as close to death as we can get, almost, and being in a space of transformation. And if we think about it too, sleep is when we go to rest, we're actually dreaming, we're actually working out some things that have happened in our waking life in order to find understanding. It's our brain's way of understanding things that have happened around us and working them out in our bodies. That's the beginning of that process. So here we have the closest thing to death that we can get, which is dreaming or in a shamanic state, in order to bridge that gap of the world we are in now versus the dream world or the spirit world. So let's look at the next card. This is the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands in this reading suggests to me that we're going into this state of dreaming in order to find that missing link. We are creating, when we go into that dream state and we're communing with our spiritual nature, with the spirit world, we're going into that death state. We are actually building our own spiritual senses, our spiritual passion. Dreaming is also its own action. Doing a journey is also its own action. And what we are doing when we get to that other side is we are building a space. We are building a space for connection. We are building an opening, right, for messages to come in from the divine, from the other side. And then we have the Hierophant, which is very interesting. It seems to me as if we are looking for understanding. We are looking for our inner guidance here. The Hierophant typically stands for, it stands, of course, for religion. It stands for marriage. But if we look at the Hierophant, this is the representative of God on earth. Representative of what's the word? This is the human representation of God on earth, but this is also someone who controls the laws and controls the laws of religion, controls the structure of religion, right? But also, when we look at the Hierophant, this is essentially what we're building in ourselves, is our own spiritual understanding, our own spiritual structure. And I think that's probably really prevalent right now in the spiritual community, is understanding that our spirituality is ours specifically. Some of it is not going to be shared. It's not going to be agreed upon, right? But it is something that we work with individually. It's something that we don't need, we don't need a group to follow, but we need our entire selves involved with. When we find this internal Hierophant come calling, we are looking for internal grounding. We are looking for spiritual grounding when we look at the Hierophant. Wow, it's very interesting. So the Page of Swords being at the bottom of this deck, this again, it just kind of highlights. Now the Page of Swords is a lot of times it's looked at as, historically, it was a spy. It was someone that was looking in on your communications. But this is actually, we've gone, it's basically going from the Page of Swords is basically taking us on this journey. And we end up with the Hierophant. We end up with inner structure and inner guidance. So the Page of Swords itself is bringing this very youthful message of bringing our dreams down to earth, bringing our dreams down to the earth of the self. And, you know, and when I say the earth of the self, it is looking at ourselves as our own planet, as our own universe, as our own looking at our entire being as a if we look at that as a planet, right? We are a full earth. We are, you know, if I'm, you know, I would be the planet of Fifth Road, and I would be, you know, in this energy of this bringing my own life and grounding to my own earth. Yeah. Wow. So let's see where we are time-wise. We're at 21 minutes. Let me get you some guidance for this week. This is very, very spiritual, which is exactly what I expect of scorpionic energy. Let's see. I want to do a shamanic card. I know there's been some not rabble rousing. Yeah, if you pay attention a lot to the spiritual community online, there's a lot going on, but I still think that how we individually approach our own spirituality is still useful to us. And we get into that patriarchy kind of energy when we try to dictate to others what a spiritual structure looks like, right? So let's go ahead and let's do one more shuffle. And let's ask the divine for some guidance for this reading. Ooh, all right. Had two pop out here. All right, so we have the Council and we have the Wind. All right, can you see those? Yes, okay. The Council and the Wind. Okay, so the Wind came out first. We've got the Wind, the 63 card. If we add that up, that's number 9. 9 is usually about closure and also independence. Let's see, 63. Okay, wait. Okay, here we go. Okay, so because these cards both came out upright, the essence. The symbol of the Wind represents the element of air. Wow, air energy. Air energy. All right. It rules communication, thought, song, and inspired ideas. It also signifies change with qualities both positive and negative. The wind blows from each of the 4 directions, and there are different qualities bestowed by each. From the south, it carries a new sense of trust, helping you gently begin to discard habits and parts of you that are no longer needed. From the west, it's calling you for more introspection, to a willingness to make final decisions, to let go of attachments and ego desires. From the north, it's moving to bring you wisdom and strength, and from the east, it's carrying clarity of vision and purpose. Whichever way the wind is blowing for you, the message which the wind whispers or shouts is a challenge. It may take courage at first to turn and face the wind, but you will find exaltation in moving toward it and receiving its lessons. So let's see. The invitation. When the spirit of the wind comes calling, it's a sign of change. Perhaps you need to change your mind about something. Perhaps an old way of doing things has become automatic, and now that you've gained greater clarity, you can make a new choice. Regardless of what the change is, you can expect to be understood and to have clear communication with others at this time. Ideas are solid, and the shift that is being called for is in the highest good of all. All right, now let's look at the Council, which is the number 11 card, which is a master number. That is a very high spiritual number. When you have, well, it's considered a master number when you have two of the same number repeating. And 11 is very much a number of manifestation. But let's look at what the Shaman, mystical Shaman oracle cards have to say. Okay, the Council. The essence. The Council are the luminous beings who hold the collective wisdom of humanity. They are the ones before whom you will do your life review when you cross into the world of the spirit. Wow. A life review is when we place our good and our bad deeds on a divine scale and attempt to explain why we did not love or forgive or dare as greatly as we might have. Know that their wisdom is available to you at all times when you live in a state of yes, in an unconditional relationship with life. They remind you of your place around a sacred fire, which has been reserved for you since the beginning of time. You will claim it when you own your inner wisdom. And again, that's what I see in this Four of Swords card, is that getting into that spiritual essence. We're crossing this bridge into the spirit world, and we're able to actually do that work ourselves. So if you think of yourself as part of the Council and you're bringing not only your good to the table spiritually, but your quote unquote bad, right? Quote unquote good and bad. And I'll be the first one to say that I don't like to parse out things as good or bad, because it could always reverse, right? It could always change. So if you're constantly seeking good, you're not appreciating what the bad is actually, quote unquote good, quote unquote bad, is actually bringing you. So appreciate it all. So let's look at the invitation that the Council card is bringing us. The invitation. The Council has a message for you. Listen with your inner senses. The handwriting is already on the wall. So look about you and you will discern its meaning. Do not wait for further signs. Embark on the journey to love deeply, forgive sincerely, and dare greatly. Take the leap without requiring life to assure you of success. Wow. And I think that's where I see this Hierophant card. That's that energy of sitting in your own energy, your own anchoring, your own spirituality in yourself, so that you don't need others to make the decision for you. You don't need others to, lead your spirituality. You are in charge of that. You are creating that within yourself. All right. So that is your reading for the week, for the new moon in Scorpio, and for your week, right? I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to bringing you your reading next week. And again, I apologize for not having had that video out sooner. I just had some technical issues and I'm still working to resolve them. But thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.